Quick thing before we get started. If you disappeared from your agency for 30 days, no calls, no emails, no Slack, would it survive? Would it thrive? Would it decline? If you hesitated, I get it. I spent 12 years building my agency, and for the most part of that, I was actually the ceiling. Every decision, every client, every fire, all me. I wrote a book about what actually needed to change. It's called Operator to Owner, and it lays out the 5 identity shifts every founder has to make to stop being that bottleneck. So go to operator2ownerevolution.com. That's operator2ownerevolution.com and grab your copy. Hey, Jen, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
All right. My name is Jen Jurgens, and I own a revenue operations agency here in Michigan called One Bold Step.
Oh, I like revenue generation agency.
Yeah,
I've never heard that one.
Revenue systems. I come by marketing by way of supply chain management.
Okay, very cool. What's your path to getting to owning an agency? Let's start there.
Yeah, like I said, my undergrad is in supply chain, which is really the idea of continual process improvement. And what I've learned over the years, and I'll die on this hill, Jason, it is that sales and marketing is a process. And that as we have evolved as marketers and with technology and data and all those fun things, that there are ways to measure what we're doing. There are also outcomes that we are striving toward. And those are all great ingredients for process improvement.
Wait, you can measure what agencies do? Like
crazy, right?
What?
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to go down the path of attribution. We're not going to talk there.
Yeah.
But
it's funny because, a lot of times when I'm talking to agencies and they're struggling, right? And I'm like, well, what's the value? And a lot of times it's because they're not charging the right amount. And they're not charging the right amount because they have no idea the value that they're providing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I can't wrap my brain around that.
Yeah. And it's part art and part science, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is the data. We're a big HubSpot partner. But even if our clients are not using HubSpot, we will figure out our way to be a part of the revenue conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the data side of it, what we can prove. And then there's also the let's call them and remind them why they love us conversation, which is the art side.
How often does that happen?
The calls back?
No, I mean, so we were talking about this in the mastermind earlier this week. And we were like, what are the metrics that are important to your clients that they're looking at? And how often do you communicate that? So I'm just curious what's your answer?
So we really focus on pipeline growth as our key metric because we can't always control the sales cycle or the close as much as we would like to. So pipeline increase has been the one that we lean into. And with the control of the systems, as much as we can, there's typically a monthly report that is sent. And then we follow Agile here. So we do quarterly retrospectives, which is kind of like a QBR with the clients to say, here's what we said we were going to do. Here's what we actually did. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't. Here's what we said what we're going to do in the next 90 days. Is that still on track? Because we learned some things. Let's pivot, right? So it's at least quarterly.
Okay. Do you review it in person with them at all, or you just send it?
We do it. Quarterlies are in person if we can, or virtual with the screens on if the clients aren't local to us. So, we really push for 2 hours quarterly as best we can. But
do you get the blank stares from them?
Sometimes. I mean, I try to work in jokes, and things like that. Yeah. I don't do very many of them anymore, but we are working on the relational side of it as well. Is so important. Yeah.
Well, what we were talking about this week is, it's a lot of companies, in the mastermind, they've grown because they meet with them once a month to review that. Like, I think a lot of times and I saw this because, I'm about efficiency. I'm about to, I don't want to work all the time.
Right.
And so what we used to do is we would send the report once a month. And the clients would pay attention, what, the first month?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, and a lot of times the reports, like thinking back at the reports that we send, they they're using all kinds of agency jargon and
Mm-hmm.
marketing jargon that they'll
Yep.
never know.
Yep.
They're like, what is a ROAS? Or they wouldn't even call it a ROAS. They would be like, row something? Like, what's
Yeah.
that row something?
Yeah.
Um,
My
and it
favorite
would
is the
be,
conversion. I'm like, what the hell's a conversion?
yeah, yeah,
What do they
yeah,
convert to?
that's right.
Did money come in the
Uh,
door? Yeah.
yeah. And we would just send the dumbest reports looking back at it. And then I was like, man, every time I could get in front of a client, if I could get the right team members in front of a client, I
Mm-hmm.
could grow that account.
We have really tried to use Agile the way that it is meant to be used, meaning any kind of marketing project we put out as a roadmap, which is the gigantic list of everything. And then we pull the first 90 days of work into that sprint board. And then inside of the sprint board, every 2 weeks, we sprint with the client. And that is to do that tactical, move things forward, what's blocked, what needs attention, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully to control the CEO or, the VP who's like, squirrel, shiny quarter, where they want you to do something else now, but you're working on these things. So to have that
Mm-hmm.
visual to try to keep them on track. Or if they do pull you in that direction, you've got then that visual reminder of, yeah, we were going to do that, but you suddenly decided you wanted us to help you with this festival, which isn't going to get a direct return.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so it's like this combination of the short term tactical, the monthly middle ground, but then that quarterly strategic conversation relational. And it is a lot of work. And where I think I'd love to hear your opinion on this. How do people feel about paying for that work, for that project management, for that strategic oversight when they think of, their agency partnership?
I think it's more and more nowadays, especially with
Yeah.
AI. Like I was telling you, I created 4 websites in like 3 hours that I would have charged 20K for each,
Yeah.
right? And so, but what I need to tell everybody is I had to put all of my years of experience and build an
Mm-hmm.
AI operating system with all the context layers in order to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was basically downloading my brain for that. So more and more companies need to be paying for strategy rather than execution, because execution is going to it already is. Like I can have AI do a lot of this
Yeah.
execution, but there always has to be that director, right? And that's kind of where we all need to kind of shift our thinking. And I think clients are starting to look at that too. But here's the deal too, is they'll be like, well, it doesn't take you that long, so you need to lower my prices. I'd be like,
Yes. Yep.
you are correct. It doesn't take us that long, but it took us 30 years to figure out what things to turn and what things
Mm-hmm.
to put in there in order to be more efficient. That's what you're paying for. Hi there, agency owners. Let me ask you, are you ready to scale your agency without increasing your overhead costs? If yes, then you need to know about E2M Solutions. Now, E2M is the #1 most reliable white label partner for agencies. They specialize in web design, WordPress development, e-commerce, SEO, and content writing. They basically do all the heavy lifting, which frees you up to focus on growing your agency. Now, here's the best part. E2M is just not another vendor. With over 10 years of experience, their team of over 300 experts has a track record of delivering for more than 300 agencies. They're your strategic partner. They deliver on time every time, so you can focus on what you do best. Now, E2M's mission is simple: to help 500 agencies increase their revenue and profit margins with white label services that actually work. And to help you get started, they're offering a special deal, 10% off for the first 3 months, but act fast because it's only a limited time offer. So head over to e2msolutions.com/smartagency to check out their transparent and their flexible pricing. Trust me, If you're ready to grow without burning out, E2M is the partner you've been looking for. That's e2msolutions.com/smart agency. Go check them out and tell them Jason Swank sent you.
I even think about I'll go back to the whole sales and marketing as a process. It's never done. It's not done.
No.
So if something goes out, and we use experimentation here. We're very scientific in our approach to campaign optimization. And that also is something where, AI is helping. AI is giving us the data. It's giving us information. What to do with that is still the high level thinking and the strategic thinking that you need people for. And so they're like, well, it launched. I'm like, no, at least once a week, I've got people behind the scenes who are trying to figure out, what if we tweaked it this way? What if we changed that? Where isn't it working? Is it not working at the landing page level? Is it not working at the sales level? Because we're actually going into the sales team to see what's landing and what's not. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure to do it faster and better, without a lot of tolerance for paying for it.
Yeah. Well, that just goes back to, it's a positioning and a branding play, right? If you want to talk about that kind of system, right? We need to, if we position ourselves in the right way, they're not going to even question the price. They're going to be like, look, because a lot of times when clients beat you up on time, I'm like, hey, we can lower it, but it's going to require more of your time, which you're not going to give to me. And then like, oh yeah, I don't want to pay for project management or account management. Really? Like, you don't want to keep this on track? So you want to be the general contractor in building your house? Have at it, buddy.
Good luck. This plan will not get done.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's just about explaining it to people because they just don't understand the process. And that's what we really did really well at our agency is we would explain the process and the systems that we go through to an extent where they could go do it themselves, but they wouldn't want to. And then they would compare everybody else to us because everyone else would just respond to the stupid RFP. And we're like, we were already meeting with the client. They already paid us a little bit. Like, I felt like I was cheating, but I was just being efficient and smarter than all the other people that were in that process. So
I just responded to one, and I know they didn't ask for this, but I took it in and I pushed it back out with applying I'll call it the Moscow model. I'm like, I know you asked for all these things, but you really only want to grow by this much. So some of these things you should not do, like must do, should do, could do, but I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And they didn't ask for that. They asked for a response to the RFP, right?
Yeah. But that sets you apart.
Yeah. Lean in and say, oh, no, you shouldn't do that.
You know what RFP stands for, right?
Oh, no. What?
Request for punishment.
That sounds about right. We typically don't do a ton of that. We engage, we really try to push everybody through our first step, which we refer to as a growth workshop. Because,
and they pay for that?
Yes. Yeah. We charge between $10,000 and $15,000 for the growth workshop. Again, going back to my supply chain background, which says that there's a theory of constraints. There's something keeping you from growing. And I'm going to go on the record with 99% of the time, it's not what the CEO thinks it is.
Never.
So either they've got positioning issues, they're optimizing for the wrong thing, or they've got 5 or 6 product lines and I'm like, okay, you have $100 to spend. How would you divide that between your 5 lines? And if you say 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, there is no priority. It's not going to happen. Your team doesn't know what to work on first. And so what comes out of that, it's so fun because it's not always the product they think it is or the service. And often it's not that they need more leads. They always come in and say, we need more leads. And we'll go through it and be like, well, you might. Oh, but you're sitting on this gigantic database that you haven't talked to in forever, or
No.
your sales team can't, you've got proposals that have been sitting out here for 2 years. Why would you put more leads into a leaky bucket? And so the
No.
workshop really changes the plan from what they think they want to what they actually need.
What's
Getting
your
people to
conversion
pay for
rate?
that is tricky. My
What's your
conversion rate
conversion rate to selling that workshop?
from the workshop to a retainer is 78%.
What about to getting people to do the workshop? What's the conversion rate that?
That's tricky. I'd have to go and look at that one. We were on like a real roll with it at the end of last year. And now this quarter, things have really slowed down. I've got, 18 of them in the pipeline, but have only closed 2. I think people think that they can make a plan now with AI and that
Do
they don't
you
need our help with that.
do you want to increase that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you kind of have a foot in the door, but it's more of a project.
Yeah.
I think if you did something where you meet with them, you identify a big challenge, and then you meet with them for an hour for a mini version of that leads to the bigger version, right? So you sell something so what I would do is I would say, look, we need to do this manufacturer's blueprint, okay, where you map out what they are doing and what they need to do at a high level.
Yep.
You say, I'm going to lose money on this, but this is just really a kind of a qualifier. Make sure we're not wasting time. Like, I'm just going to do it at our cost. I'm going to charge you $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? And say there's 3 possible outcomes. You'll love the plan. You'll go execute it yourself. If that's the case, wish you luck.
Which we always
Number
say.
2,
Yep.
you'll love the plan. You want to work with us, which is most common. Or number 3, you don't like the plan. I give your money back. So it gives you a chance to really kind of see if this client is going to be a good client. And then what it does is once you start building the high level plan with them, it positions the next plan perfect. So then you can close the deal with it. Like, there's no proposal. Like, literally you send them to a landing page with a credit card because it's $1,000. They can, like, it's that quick. I promise you, I bet you would increase your those 18
in the pipeline.
because some are serious, some are not probably.
Yeah. Of course, I believe they're all they all need to do it. But
yeah.
So here's where I'm struggling. It can help me with this one too. What is enough to put into that offer, but that isn't too much? And so right now what the workshop is I know it's a lot. It is a little bit of a loss leader. We'll spend 100, 120 hours on it. But what it does is it sets us up. Like, if somebody does that workshop with us, and when I say 78% become a long-term client, it's because we hit the ground running, and it is our goal to show them pipeline increase within the first 90 days. The way we can do that is if that workshop is like, we're going deep.
Did you know that agencies are losing 15 to 30% of profit every year, and most don't even actually realize it? The usual suspects are poor time tracking, manual timesheets, scope creep, untracked revisions. One or all of them could be draining your agency's revenue. Now, Toggle's agency profit heist turns this mystery into a game. Answer a few questions about your workflow, gather clues, discover exactly where your profits are leaking, and how to fix them. Start your investigation now by going to toggle.com/smartagency. That's Toggle, TOGGL.com/smartagency. Plus, get 10% off annual plans with the code SMARTAGENCY10 at checkout. Or just mention Jason Swank sent you. Here's the deal. You remind me of Spencer, who did the same thing. Charged $20K for. He listened to the podcast. Was like, "Hey, Jason, I got a foot in the door. It's $20,000." I'm like, "That's not a foot in the door. That's like your whole body blocking the door." Right? And the thing is because they were charging $20K, it took them like 3 or 4 weeks to do, right? And then to build it. So that wasn't a foot in the door. The secret sauce is building something and making them believe they're building it with you. Okay. Then you can kind of position like your project. you could charge even more because now you're trying to build trust with that. The
Correct.
foot in the door already built the trust. You identify a huge gap or a problem and be like, I think we should dive more into this, don't you? I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, me too. Sign here on this
sign here
part.
to do this.
But, the best foot in the doors are done with the prospect or what I call the customer because they're not a client yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going from prospect to client and there's a huge, and then and then the client is like, they're real excited. They think they made the right decision. And then the day after, when they're waiting 3 weeks, they're like, what is Jen doing? Like, did they just steal my money? Like, that's
we
what they're
had to come up
thinking.
with graphics to explain this is why it takes so long. To your point, right? Because they're like,
Correct.
don't bug us in the first 2 weeks. We're doing our audit work. We're behind the scenes.
Yeah. If you implemented that,
I have to figure out what it is.
It,
What is the
it will work 75% of all the time.
75% of the time works every time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right. Anchorman, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's what he said. It's like, this works all the time, 80% of the time or something.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great stat.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And you make people think you're like, what did you say?
Well, I think
But I guarantee, I promise you that would probably close deals way faster.
Moving. Yeah.
It would probably, I don't know if you're doing the sales or selling that, but it would allow other people to sell it too.
I was just going to say, so you've identified the other problem, which is when you go from, 0 to not foot in the door, but whole body in the door, it typically takes founder level engagement to get that trust and to have the reputation and to move it forward. It is not a, enter credit card here kind of a sale. And so you do, I am the bottleneck. Now, we have, fortunately, this other HubSpot practice as well, which we're onboarding HubSpot for deals that HubSpot sells, right? So we're a partner. I don't even know what acronym that is now, but that is like a lead funnel, right? And so that makes that easier. But if we had something where those people could dip a toe in versus give me 20 grand, right?
I mean, that's a big ask.
Other people could sell it as well.
Yeah, that's a real big ask.
Well, no, all that needs to happen is for my partner to say, and they tried it on me the other day. Oh, I don't think you can get 20 grand for that. And then I'm like, well, watch me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which then leads us back to like, let's check our blood pressure today.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think if you did the real foot in the door, you could sell that 20K project probably for 30 and sell a lot more of them.
It is when I say it is a growth plan, a growth system, it covers the budget that you'll need for the whole year. It covers the tech stack, the roles.
You're overwhelming the crap out of them. Yes.
Oh yeah. It's so cool though.
Well, I know you think it's cool and everyone in the company does, but it doesn't matter. Like I remember I was in a meeting with, how do I say this? With a large beverage company with a red logo located in Atlanta. And
no idea.
No one does. And I remember we were doing a young urban market campaign and the CMO was like, I hate this. I don't get it. I'm like, well, you're a fat old white dude. Like you're not going to get it.
No.
So, right. No. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter what you like. It matters who,
I can only find so many visionary CEOs that are as excited as me about sales and marketing efficiency. To the point where I've started framing it in terms of you don't care about efficiency, but you do care about profit. And if this process was more efficient, you could be more profitable. I've actually created now a slide called, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Oh, I like that.
Because I've come to that understanding that not everybody, has reread the goal or this is lean and studies, Ben Franklin's continual pursuit of excellence and really gets a kick out of that like I do.
Yeah,
to your
exactly.
point, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is we did a workshop. I'll send this to you after we stop recording so you can check it out. But it was a workshop where we broke down getting rid of the founder led and selling the 100K deals without the founder. I think that will help you.
I would love that. That would be, yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. And for everyone listening, if you guys want access to that, just email me or hit us up on social. We'll send that over to you. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe and like and do me a favor, everyone. If you could go to iTunes or Spotify and review it. I don't think maybe in 13 years I've asked for a review twice. I think this might be the twice. I've heard that helps us reach more cool people. So if you guys can go give us an honest review on those, that would be great. And until next time, have a swank day.